Yes, people, we are back. We're back again. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to this show. We're going to be talking a little bit about Manchester City and how they want to try and sue the Premier League. Yes, you've heard that right. They want to try to sue the Premier League. They have just won. It is crazy, but it is happening and it is being reported, people. We're going to mention that. We're going to talk about links to Arsenal's transfers. We're going to talk about Sesko. We're going to talk a little bit about ZUBIMENDI and where we are still short. And we're going to talk about the outgoings as well, the potential rumours of Smith-Rowe and Eddie Nketiah both leaving Arsenal potentially, along with a lot of others that have been released. Big up to the panel. We got Jez back on the show. Jez, how are you, my friend?
I'm all good, man. Thank you for inviting me back on. Good to be back on with Albert and Egal. Looking forward to your show, man. Very interesting what's going on about Man City. But I suppose they can do this, can't they? They've got money to burn. So, interesting.
It does seem that way, my friend. It does seem that way. Come on, man. You're always welcome. And make sure you do me a favour, people. Make sure you go and follow Jez on Arsenal, the history, and more. Igal, how are you, my friend?
Bro, I'm tired, but I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm ready to go. It's going to be a busy summer. We'll find out about everything in about the next 14 to 15 days. We'll have more clarity before the Euros, I think.
Actually, we will, man. You're absolutely right. And I think that this one is definitely going to be quicker the next couple of weeks. And then we wait until autumn to work out what the 115 is. And if this is linked, which we'll come back to in a minute, Albert, big up my bro. Make sure all of you are doing me a favor and go and follow my boy Albert on Albert JTV. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, not bad, man. When you said the show's at 8 o'clock, I said, yeah, I can make it, man. 7 o'clock, can't do it, bro. So, yeah, happy to be on, man. Happy to be on.
Well, listen, you and Igal are exactly the same. I normally go for 7 o'clock, but 8 o'clock's absolutely fine to get you guys on. We are going to be finding that Saad will join us. Hopefully, Saad will be there in a minute. The second, I guess he's probably late off of another stream because he's a busy boy. But let's talk about this Manchester City stuff, because it is stuff at the moment. I have no idea about the truth. I have no idea about how guilty or innocent these football club is. But this is actually fairly separate to 115, or is it? Question mark. Now, the reason I say or is it is because they're talking about potential laws not being correct and not being lawful, should I say. I don't really get this, Igal. Let me start with you. I really do not understand what's happening here. Now, let me explain why I don't understand and I'm confused. Pep Guardiola potentially leaving, KDB looking to go to Saudi Arabia. Are they all off? Question mark, because they know that they've done wrong. That's the first scenario. Is this a admission of guilt by Manchester City to say, yeah, we kind of done wrong, but actually the laws you're saying we've broken, we don't think they're lawful anyway? Is that the scenario? Or actually, are Manchester City innocent and they're just saying, we're innocent, we don't care, we're going to come for you, Premier League, because you've been out of order to us and it's been reputationally damaging for us? Where are you at, bruv? Where are you at, Igal? Talk to me.
I kind of was trying to glancing over it because I was going to do a TikTok on it. And I think they're not suing them I don't think it has anything to do with the 115 charges. Apparently, it has more to do with the rulings over financial restrictions going forward. Because Man City, they feel like they're being discriminated against and they feel like that they're being targeted for things that are out of their control. And I'm not 100% sure because I didn't read every single article, but just glancing over it, basically their sponsorships are going to be more legislated and looked at going forward, similar to how Newcastle's sponsorship recently was rejected because they were trying to get a Saudi airline to sponsor the club, and because of the links to the owner, it got rejected. So going forward, there's going to be much more restrictions, and they're retrospectively trying to go and analyze everything that's happening right now. So Man City is just saying, hey, we already have agreements in place. If you try to mess with the agreements we already have in place, we're going to sue you. Hence why they're suing them right now. And if I'm mistaken, please do somebody tell me. But that's what I got the gist of. They're basically suing them because they're like, how can you try to get us to change our agreements or change anything that we have going right now because you've made new rules? That's just not right. And they feel like it's discrimination, and they feel like they're regulating something that they wouldn't have regulated before.
Albert, let me come to you, my bro, because, I mean, Max, to be fair to him, is saying, am I the only one who wants football back? And big up to you, bro. You're not the only one. And this is definitely
100%.
Not so much about football.
We'll be back in 14 days.
Yeah, well, there we go. We got the Euros, of course. But this is not so much about what's happening on the pitch, but it kind of is linked to it, Albert. I want to read out what they're saying. The Telegraph is stating this, that Manchester City claim they are victims of discrimination from rival clubs, talking about legal action, which could ultimately undermine the Premier League's 115 charges. A 2-week private arbitration hearing was launched by City into the league's associated party. Financial rules on Monday will see the club argue they were targeted. Now, should City succeed in their claim that the rules are unlawful, the president could significantly weaken the financial breach case. Rival clubs believe that the defeat for the club in the landmark case next week would eventually lead to the end of any meaningful financial controls in the competition. Now, basically what they're saying is these new rules that you've brought in that are affecting Newcastle, blah, 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 are actually affecting a hell of a lot of clubs, and this is out of order. Do you know what I think to that, Albert? This is not affecting anybody but anybody else other than Manchester City. Because Manchester City have built their squad, bruv. Manchester City have built their squad for the last 10 years. Newcastle have 400 billion in the bank and they can't spend it because these new rules have come in. So why Manchester City getting the hump? If I'm a City fan, I'm happy. Because I'm sitting there thinking no one can catch us up now because of these PSR rules. So if I'm Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, no matter how much you've already spent, if you want to go spend 200 million, you could have a few years ago. Now you can't. So Manchester City are surely sitting there going, yeah, I'm all right with this. But it seems not, Albert. So what do you make of all this, man?
Oh, God. Yeah, when I see it coming through, I'm thinking, wow, they're suing the Premier League. This is interesting, man. Yeah, I think that line you just come up with the last bit saying about their victims, that they feel like they've been discriminated against. I'm like, wow. Like, really? Dan, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. I don't want to spend too long on it, but yeah, it's a mess, man. What do they say? Like it's like a 165-page document. That's insane, man. Dan, I'm not no expert, right? And I don't seek to be no legal expert, but I'm guessing probably some of them 115 charges, for example, right? Some of them are probably not worth the paper written on, right? So I don't know the exact details of every single charge that there is, but you better believe there's some charges there that City are gonna City are in deep trouble, man. I get it. There's lawyers out that you can pay to deal with this and probably get off the hook, but I think this is too serious, mate. And I think, when does it start? The 10th of June, I believe it is, for 2 weeks. And I think the wider thing is, because I don't want to say too much in it, but I just think the ramifications, yeah, going forward in terms of what clubs can do off the back of this is going to be massive, what the outcome, whatever comes out of it. So I sort of kind of want to hold fire until what happens from the 10th of June, but like the knock-on effect from this is big, man. Like, this is really, really big. It's not just about Man City, but obviously how it's going to affect a lot of clubs going forward, man, in terms of their business deals, because obviously FFP and profit sustainability, they're there for a reason, man. Which I think long term is a good thing for football, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I'll be waiting to see what happens from the June the 10th. But yeah, the ramifications, man, for the Premier League is going to be bad, mate.
It's already started. Did you see what they did to Chelsea with the shirt sponsor? They agreed to deal with Paramount, and they basically said, no, you can't make an agreement with Paramount. They're a direct competitor to the company that we have broadcasting the Premier League over in America. So there's no point of having no Chelsea games on that network because they're not going to promote another company's shirt. They literally don't show Inter games on that network, and they have the Serie A. It's a mad thing.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. It's an absolute mess.
Shirt sponsors is a problem. Everything's a problem now. It's crazy.
Jez, let me come to you, man. What do you make of this situation where they are saying that a third party should not be allowed to come in and say, you cannot have a sponsor that pays you what you want? There needs to be a cap on it. So, for example, if somebody wants to sponsor Manchester City and they want to give them £2 billion a week that they can, there should be a third party that can come in and go, hang on a minute, that's not right. Where do you stand on that? Because it's difficult, isn't it? Like, you've got a situation where Manchester City should be able to go, well, it's their money. They can give it to us if they want. We've got a situation with the Emirates or with whoever sponsors us, Adidas, that can say, do you know what? We'll give you 60 million a year. If they want to give us 160 million a year, there shouldn't really be a third party to say, no, that's not right. Or should there? That's what Man City is saying. They're saying, where is this law that says that we can't have X, Y, Z? And it's very, very separate to the 115. Where do you think this leads football? Because, Jez, I think money they say is ruining football. I think this is another example as to why it is becoming a bit of a mess, if I'm honest.
I totally agree with you. I think football has, money is ruining football. Just to step back, what you said to Albert there is, I just get a feeling, is this a smoke screen from Man City to say, well, we know we're naughty, we know we've done wrong, we just want to delay it, right? Because a lot of them charges, from what I mean, I'm no expert, I'm not a legal aficionado at all, right? But the only things I've read about that, right, is the fact that a lot of those charges is because they actually haven't dealt with the Premier League from years back in their inquiry. But to answer your question, mate, yeah, I think football's now become a bit of a joke. If a sponsor comes in and says, we will give Arsenal, right, £1 billion a week, we're going to go, excellent, thanks very much. Okay. Other clubs are going to go, nah, that ain't fair, because they can't get that sponsorship, right? There has to be somewhere along the line a level playing field, because let's be fair, Everton lost points, Forest lost points, Man City so far, nothing's happened. Will it ever happen? Because they've got money to burn. They'll get the best solicitors, lawyers, whatever you want to call them, to deal with this. And they'll probably come down to what? 15 points will be actually charged on. The rest will just be thrown in the bin as irrelevant. And we move on. But the problem I see it, mate, is I just do think football for a way, way long time now has caused issues in the game. And it's not a game that I actually think is going to improve from money, personally, from my honest opinion on it. I think it's going to get worse. There's going to be more deviousness going on, more corruption, if you want to call it that. And something's got to step in and say, no. Come on, there's got to be a cap here, because it's just going to go on and it's going to go on. It could be next. It could be Arsenal next, right? It could be Arsenal. Who knows?
You never know. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
No, it is mad. I must say that. And like, just lastly on this, because I want to move to Arsenal. Igal, do you think that this will come out at all when all of this, and I'm talking about the 115 and everything now, I want to get your opinions on this. Do you see Manchester City just getting a slap on the wrist here, or do you think this could go really bad for them?
Guys, I think you're reading too much into players leaving, people leaving. The CEO that went to Manchester United left because he didn't see a potential raise at his current club, so he moved. Kevin De Bruyne is how old? And he's getting to a stage in his career where he's no longer the main man. So them moving him on is natural. Bernardo Silva, moving him on is natural. Pep, he's been there for 8 years. He's overstayed his welcome. He's been here longer than any other club.
He's overstayed his welcome. He's been winning every single trophy going.
Yeah, he's been here.
I know what you're saying. Well, go on.
He's been here and won more than anything else. And this is the longest tenure that he's had out of any club in his career. Longer than Barcelona, longer than Bayern Munich. So in my opinion, I just think it's a natural course that they all leave. And the 115, even if they are guilty, good luck trying to prove it. How are you going to prove it in court? Because there's so many loopholes and so many ways to get out of it. And these guys have the best lawyers. They have the best everything to get them out of all these situations. And that's what they paid for. If they have the unlimited money to do these kind of things in the first place, best believe they wouldn't do something to jeopardize the club. Because in that case, it's on them. It's not on the fans. We make fun of the wrong people. You don't make fun of the Man City fans for their ownership messing up. Because if Arsenal's ownership did something wrong, and God forbid we got in trouble, wouldn't we feel like shit also? It wouldn't be on us. It would be on the owners. So I don't think that anything's going to happen. And the Premier League would be stupid to try to damage their product by getting any punishment to the likes of Man City or Chelsea. Even though it would be deserved, I don't think anything's going to happen to them, because the Premier League would not hurt themselves by getting rid of one of their best teams.
I think you're kind of right in the last bit of what you've said, because Manchester
Everything
City,
else was BS.
No, I'm not even saying that, to be fair. Actually, I think what I would say is I agree with a lot of what you said, and the last bit I agree with more, is that I don't think the Premier League want to get rid of Chelsea or Manchester City, because they know what that brings in, they know what they're about, and I think if anything happens, they get a fine. They're not taking titles off them, they're not putting them down to the conference, they're not taking transfer embargoes. I think they'll get a few points deductions maximum and a fine. That is the maximum that I think will happen to Manchester City.
And even if they gave us the titles, Do you guys want them? We didn't
No,
get
I
to
don't want
celebrate
them.
them.
No, I don't want them.
We didn't get to celebrate them.
No, I don't want them. I don't want to be giving them because someone cheated. I want to be earning them. I hate this when they say, do you know what?
Exactly.
Give us the title. I want to earn them. You know what? If they give them to them, put them in our history, that's fine by me. I'm not going to kick off about it, but I don't really want to be still celebrating it. I'm not going to be shameless to go, we actually come second, but you know what? They're giving it to us. Hey, no, thank you. I want to go win it. Yeah?
We'll get an extra 2 Premier Leagues, a League Cup. Is that it?
We get a League Cup and we get 2 Premier Leagues. That would be it, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be it.
I don't want them that way. I don't want that.
I don't want any of them.
No,
I don't want any of them.
They can keep their League Cup.
Miguel, I have got to pull you up about something though, because I was on the terrace today and apparently you said that Mbappe shouldn't have gone to Real Madrid and he should have gone somewhere else because he's not going to prove himself or some rubbish. What's this you're talking about here? Come on, what's going on?
I just simply think I view things like this. When you're the best players in the world, you want to prove yourself and you don't want anything handed to you the easy way. Him going to Real Madrid to win the Champions League is probably the easiest thing you could do. For God's sakes, Dani Ceballos has how many Champions Leagues to his name? Odegaard actually has a Champions League sitting on the bench for Real Madrid. If you want a Champions League, going to Real Madrid is quite easy. So in my opinion, he's not going to separate himself as legacy-wise as one of the greatest players by making the move to Real Madrid. It's just going to be like, you know
what about if he wins it for him? What about if he is the guy that wins the Champions League?
If he wins the Champions League, it's just going to be another Champions League for Real Madrid, and Kylian Mbappe got his Champions League. He's sitting on the back of a coattails of a team that wins it every single year. If he was to win it with PSG, it would have meant more. If he was to move to Arsenal or to, I think, anywhere else where he could potentially go on and win it, it would be viewed as better. Also, he was in a team that was competing with Real Madrid that was just as good as them at times, and they could have won it. He had Messi, Neymar, for God's sakes, plus a reasonable team. He went to finals. He never won it. So now if he goes to Real Madrid and goes and ends up winning it, I'm going to look at him differently. And people are talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, Zidane. Guess what? Cristiano Ronaldo and Zidane, they won major honors at other clubs. If I'm not mistaken, Ronaldo he won the Champions League with Manchester United. Zidane was already winning World Cups and doing all these things similar to Mbappe, but he was on a bigger scale. I just think in order to beat the best, to join the best is a weak move. You got to try to beat them.
Here's where I agree and disagree. I agree. So personally, this might be an unpopular opinion of myself. I think Vinny Jr. is as good, if not better, than Kylian Mbappe, right? Because I think he's doing it at a top level, and I think he has got Real Madrid across the line. Single-handedly, he's been better. So I agree with you that Kylian Mbappe's got to go to a level and do it first, because at PSG, you can do it. He's done it for his club, I must say that, which is something that Vinny Jr. has not done. So I kind of get that bit. But I think going to Real Madrid and saying that's a bad move, I don't agree with that bit, because I think that is the dream of every player. And to be fair to Mbappe, what he has won at his age, I know it's only at PSG, but obviously at his club, he's won a lot. I think he will do wonders at Real Madrid, and I think he'll be fantastic, right? I'm not quite sure where that front line goes, and we can discuss that, I'm sure, another time. But for me, I think he'll go and win stuff there. But you're kind of right to say that he hasn't really gone and done it at a club. And if he was to have gone and done it at a Manchester United or Arsenal, and he was to have gone and done it, let's say, at Juventus or maybe at Bayern Munich, then I would actually agree with you there, because he hasn't done that. But I actually do think he'll be an absolute baller for me, and I just don't think that it will be even a question personally.
Let me ask you this: Henry wins the Champions League with Barcelona.
That's cool, man.
Henry won the Champions League with Barcelona. Wouldn't it have meant more if he would have won it with Arsenal?
Yes.
Simple. That's all I meant when I said my point originally.
Well, listen, you backed it up. It's all good.
And people didn't understand that. That's unfortunate.
Well, listen, when I get told Igal said this, I have to ask you, because I'm like, what was all that about? But now you've explained it. It's all good, man.
But do you get the logic?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Listen, I agreed with what you've said at that part. I actually agree with that. Mbappe has to do it at a level that I can look at and go, wow, it's not a Farmers League. Wow, it's not PSG. If he goes and does it at Real Madrid, I will say this. If he goes to Real Madrid and he becomes like Ronaldo levels, as in CR Ronaldo, then you're going to look at it differently and go, wow, fair play. Like, he's gone there and he's absolutely killed it. But I don't know that I agree with everything you said in terms of, he's just going to go there and be carried by the others and go across the line and win a Champions League. I think he can actually go there and be instrumental. Like, I do rate him highly. I think Vinny Jr. for me is probably the better one out of the two for me, but in terms of what he's done. But I don't look at Mbappe and go, "You're terrible. Why are you going to Madrid?" I don't think you're really going to get by there. I think he's going to be amazing there. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see now that he's gone there. We'll see what happens, innit? Anyway, we're moving away from Arsenal. Saad, welcome to the show, my bro. I hope you're well.
I'm so sorry, Dan.
No,
You know, you lay down for just a second, bro. You shut your eyes for just 1 second, bro. All of a sudden, time just goes past, bro, and I just wake up in a fuzz, bro. I'm just like, bro, what's going on?
Nah, come on.
I
calm,
apologize, man.
Nah, come on.
We're here, man. We're here.
You
Man.
haven't actually missed much of the Arsenal talk, so we're going to get into that now. I'll start with you, my friend.
Lovely.
Let's talk about Sesko, because there's rumours with Chelsea now. I'm hearing that he could be off to Chelsea. They're heavily linked. They've been scouting him for a couple of years. I think this sounds like Arsenal like him, so now Chelsea like him, a little bit similar to Mudryk, but I've been told by Chelsea fans that this is the guy they've wanted for 3 years and he's going to come to Chelsea now and all this stuff. Well, what are you saying, bro? Sesko the player, does that excite you coming to Arsenal? Do you think he could pick Chelsea over us, mate? Talk to me.
Well, firstly, obviously, Sesko, it's a bit underwhelming to what I would like us to go for. Obviously, the name, I want us to go for somebody who's, a proven striker, somebody that can definitely get us over 20 goals a season, 25 goals a season. So my whole input is, okay, yes, you're going for a guy that you guys believe in, and I would prefer to go for somebody who's really a proven guy that can come in and get straight to doing the work. Do you know what I mean? Getting us 20, 25 goals a season. But also, I'm on one side where I'm thinking, based on the previous transfers that these guys have made in the last couple of years, I think at a time I'm going to question them again, and I'm probably going to be wrong, because this guy might come in and might work out. So I'm a bit in a crossroad where I'm thinking, which way is the wind going to blow? On the Chelsea thing, I mean, this is Chelsea, man. I mean, it's literally just what's going on over there? What Arsenal doing? Yeah, let's do that. Let's just follow them. Like, they copy the way we did our manager. They copy the transfers. The way their scouting system works is they're basically following Fabrizio Romano. Anybody says Arsenal are looking at, basically, let's go look at him. So it's just it's weird. They've said that they've been looking at him for 2 years. I follow some ITKs because I like to cover all of the news and see what's going around with all the clubs, and I've not heard anything about them looking at him for 2 years. But if they have, then maybe I just haven't followed the right people. But yeah, listen, when what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at Sesko, who's a decent. He looks like a decent striker. He's quick. He's got a powerful shot on him, and if he can come in and do the job, brilliant. If not, then it's going to cause a load of problems, because we need to take this window especially serious, because I think next season there's a lot riding on it, because half the fan base is looking at the season like this is your last chance to win a trophy. The other half is like, oh, it's okay, we're still going to ride with you, it's all good. And it could go, if he goes trophyless again next season, it could just explode. And like a majority of the fan base is just onto him, just like trying to get him out. So yeah, it's just it's a bit of a whole situation with me, man. I don't know where I'm more on the underwhelmed side, but I'm not gonna sit here and slate it from day one and say, oh shit, take him out, get rid of him, I don't want him. So do you know what I mean? I'm gonna give it a chance if it does happen, which it does look like it's gonna happen. You're on mute, Dan.
Sorry, man. We got to at least look at him in an Arsenal shirt for me if we actually do get this guy across the line before we start to go mental about it. However, Jez, I'll come to you. I can understand why some Arsenal fans are a little bit underwhelmed by this. I think everybody wants an Alexander Isak, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, Jez, I also look at it and think, what number 9 is out there that is absolutely guaranteed to get Arsenal 25 goals across the line? And unless you go for a Haaland or a Harry Kane, which isn't realistic, and some are saying Isak isn't realistic, who the hell do we go for as an Arsenal number 9? So there's people who are talking. I know Albert mentions Victor Gyökeres quite a lot and wants him. I know there's other people that want Tony and Watkins because they're Premier League proven. Where are you at with this Sesko link, Jez?
Well, be fair, I've never seen the guy play. I've watched him since we've been linked with him. I've watched clips of him. Somebody did send me a video of his last 50 shots on goal, right? And he scored some great goals, fabulous goals, but it wasn't enough. Out of those 50 goals, he scored 11, right? And then I'm thinking, sorry, 50 shots, I beg your pardon, he scored 11. So I'm thinking, okay, is this really a step up? Now, I've gone out of favour with Tony myself. I wanted Tony in, but I just don't, I think he's just dropped out. Maybe that's because he wants to go from Brentford badly. But then again, I have to look at the mindset and think, well, if you want to go from Brentford, you'd step it up to get in the shop window. So I'm concerned about that. But you're right. How many good number 9s are out there? There aren't really. And yeah, we're not going to get a player like Haaland. I wish we could. But yeah, I'm not sure, man. I'm be honest with you, this Sesko, I'm gonna have to sit on the fence on this one. If we get him, I hope he does well. I hope he can be a 22, 25 goal of season player. That's what we need. We do need that player to get us over the line. Is he him? Don't know. Personally, a player I'd like is Watkins myself. I think he's decent, very good player. And I'd also like to look at Elise from Crystal Palace. I think he's levels, that guy. And but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting window. But then again, Dan, there could be, it's the Euros coming up. It's a bit of a shopping list out there. Players are going to be up for it. So you never know. Somebody might pop up and we go, let's have him.
Yeah, that could be how it works. The Euros is definitely going to play a part in it. Igal, talk to me about Benjamin Sesko in terms of Arsenal and Chelsea and why he would choose each project. And I've also got the question of, if he does come, is Havertz going to start at 9 and him be moulded into the 9 himself?
Anybody who joins Arsenal will not start right away. They'll be eased into the team. Don't think that anybody who's getting signed is coming in to be a bench player. Every player we sign going forward is going to be a rotation piece, be it a starter, be it somebody who comes in here and there. They're all coming in like Leandro Trossard to take somebody's shirt away, because we are in a situation now where we're going to be playing about 50 games a season, every season going forward. We're going to be in the top. We're going to be in the top competition, which is the Champions League. We're going to be in the cup competitions, and we're going to be competing for the league. So we need the squad depth. Now, we all know we need a striker, and we all know we need somebody who's a clinical finisher that can finish in many different ways, and also that can create many different ways. I think Chelsea are looking at Sesko. They have been looking at Sesko, and they've been linked to him back even in the summer of last season. But this is because of their scouting team have been looking at Sesko since he was at RB Salzburg. He made a move for £24 million. He has a release clause. We can get him for cheap, but we're going to find out in the next couple of weeks if Arsenal can get him over Chelsea. The reason why Chelsea is a serious outfit is because he would be guaranteed starting minutes at the Premier League at one of the teams that is in what are they in? Conference League. So he would be taking a step down in the Conference League from Leipzig, but he would be guaranteed starting minutes. In my opinion, if the choice is between Chelsea or staying at Leipzig, I think he ends up staying at Leipzig. The only way he would join a Premier League side, I think, is if the Chelsea offer is much bigger than Leipzig. Now, Arsenal, we want the player, but will the player agree to being eased into the team? Will the player be willing to back himself into joining our team? Because not a lot of teams join teams like Real Madrid, where you're just going to be going into a team where you're going to be fighting for your place in every position. Arsenal right now, we have to find a way to attract these players to join us, even though they know they're not going to be guaranteed starting positions right away. They're going to have to fight for their place. They're going to have to earn their place. And I think Mikel Arteta needs to get on that phone and start speaking to the player, because Michaela Mudryk went to Chelsea because of financial reasons. If Sesko has a choice between Arsenal and Chelsea and ends up going for financial reasons, I'll be quite disappointed.
Yeah, I would too. And I said that earlier, and people are trying to say, Chelsea fans, oh my God, Chelsea are not that club. We don't do that. Yes, they do.
They did that. They just did that recently. Tosin went to them and they tried to say PR. It's not financial reasons. Well, I'm pretty sure you paid more money than Newcastle.
Do you know what the problem is now in regards to Chelsea?
Yeah.
The only reason why Chelsea were getting away with it at the start is because they were enticing players with the long contracts, plus the overall money that they're going to get over the length of their contract. Do you know what I mean? Now they can't do that. The max they can do is put a player on a 5-year contract, meaning that they're going to have to go higher with the base wage that they're getting per week.
It sounds like another team's going to sue the Premier League now.
That's probably what's going to happen. They're going to have to go up in wages now, where they're going to have to give them big money if they really want to blow everybody out the water. I don't think this guy is. I just looked up his wage. I think he's on like 60 grand a week. So, you know what I mean? If we come in Champions League football and Premier League football playing, challenging for the title, and give him like what 80, 90, or even 100k a week. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's going to choose Chelsea.
Him with Eddie. Basically, go give Sesko Eddie's wages, which is 90k a week or whatever, 100k, whatever it is. He'll take that every day of the week. It's just, will he be okay with potentially being asked to be a rotation to start the season and earn his place when he can just stay at Leverkusen, when he can just stay at the current club that he's at, and next year be worth 80 million because the release clause is up? This is the problem. There's no good deals in the market. Everything is either you're getting completely robbed or you're going for an older player like Ollie Watkins, who's 27 and is going to cost you 90, 80 million. And you don't know if he's guaranteed to even improve from what he is right now. At least with Sesko, we know he's a player who's 6'5", finishing ability is up there, even though you've seen a clip of 50 chances. I'll tell you this. 90% of strikers in Europe get at least 50 to 60 to 100 chances a season. They still only end up with 20-something goals. So it just goes to show you the conversion rate he has is around 30% compared to some other strikers. And I'm quite optimistic that if this guy signed, he would be a 100 million plus player in a year's time under Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. I think a lot of people are underwhelmed.
That's a big claim.
I think a lot of people are underwhelmed because they want Isaac, they want these guys, but guess what? Newcastle are not selling. And we don't. And Newcastle and Ivan Toney, nobody wants Ivan Toney anymore because of the attitude and everything else that happened. Ollie Watkins, he's 28. He's 28, I think, in a couple days. Happy early birthday to him. I don't know, man. I just feel like there's no good value in the market. This is probably the best value in the market for a 21-year-old who has better output than most of the top strikers that are available in Europe.
Watkins is 29 in December, I think he is. Yeah,
29. Damn.
I mean,
He's going to be 29, yeah.
He scored a goal every 110 minutes last season.
Guess what? I looked at those numbers. He massively overperformed his expectations.
Yeah, so
could that mean that he's going to ever perform like that ever again? Maybe not. This could have been his career year. I could see 19 goals, 13 assists. And if you actually look at the assists, they're literally like he passes the ball and the player scores a worldie. Or he gets a shot and it hits the inside of the bar in a couple times. Like, kind of.
Listen, I mean, I've got to say, Albert, you're a big fan of Victor Gyökeres over Sesko, and I wanted to ask you why that might be, because he's potentially going to be like 80-odd million release clause. Sesko's going to be half that, 45 million or something, I think Sesko could be. So, yeah, talk to me, man.
Oh, Dan, the striker market, man. Jeez. Yeah, we spoke on your channel, actually. This was when I think we had Balogun out on loan still. And we was talking about, will he stay? I said Arsenal will sell him and a striker something to look at, but the striking market is a difficult market and it's not the market it used to be. It's still the case now, man. Listen, there's some good strikers out there, but if you're talking about world-class elite level, then that's a very, very niche market, shall I say. But yeah, with Gyökeres, for me, it's just a case of, I know people say, oh, you know, he played in the Sky Bet Championship, but listen, anybody knows who watches Sky Bet, that's a tough league, man. Physicality wise and the games you play. And listen, Coventry done pretty well, man. They're gonna do very well when he moves eventually from Sporting Lisbon and sell on clauses and all that. But Yeah, I like what I saw when he's at commentary, and he's obviously done amazingly well last season. I do think Arsenal will be interested in getting him, but I just think we could be probably just priced out of the market in terms of what he would cost. But it's interesting, Dan, sort of you see the opinions of Arsenal fans in terms of the striker situation, because you look at Isak, and obviously there's ability there, but it's just the injury record is horrendous. And that's a lot of money to outlay on somebody who probably won't play as many games as you would like. And obviously you've got the Osherman links as well. Again, that will be a triple figure signing. That's always been whoever got him, or if he does, when he does eventually leave Napoli, that's always going to be a lot of money, whoever pays what they're going to pay for him. So I get why some fans are underwhelmed by Sesko. Because obviously he's still quite young, he's still pretty raw. I think he had 18 goals in all competitions last season. I can see why Arsenal will go for him, Dan, just purely because, not just because of he's young and he just there's things to work with, and Gal touched on it in terms of what he might cost if he does really well. And I think that what it might come down to, because you look at someone like Gyökeres, I think he's 25, I think. Coventry makes some good money, and 20 million. That's a lot of money for a championship club to get. And you look at what it would cost now. So maybe Arsenal might be thinking, you know what, if we can get Sesko done before the Euros and obviously meet the release, I think they won about 50 plus million for him, from what I roughly hear. But I get why people will be underwhelmed in the whole thing of the tag of, can he score in the Premier League? We're not going to know, Dan, until he signs for us. There's a lot of potential there with him from what I've seen and from what people have covered about him. I get the Watkins links, Isak. It's a tough one. Because you pay a lot of money for somebody, potentially in Isak, who's injury prone, but undoubtedly there's talent. Then you can put the ball in the back of the net. Osherman, listen, with my Nigerian brother, I wouldn't be unhappy with him coming to Arsenal, but still early, Dan. You know what I mean? We're only the beginning of June now. It changes so much in the transfer market. It's hard to keep up. But it depends what Arsenal are going to do. Are they gonna go for potential and get Sesko for decent money in inverted commas, or are you prepared to break the bank for Osherman or an Isak? And it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. We need a striker. I think that's my own personal opinion, but it's hard. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with this in terms of going forward in this sort of transfer window with the striker situation.
Yeah, man. I mean, Saad, I said last time, I don't mind Arsenal spending their 200 budget on a striker and a midfielder. It looks now that Arsenal aren't going to spend 100 million pounds on either a midfielder or a striker. From what we're reading, we could change by now. We have no idea, right? But Sesko is going to probably cost half of that. And ZUBIMENDI is the link in midfield again today, according to the Terrace, where I was on earlier with Terry, saying that could be £50 million release clause. I don't know if that's true.
Let me jump in on this, man.
Seen that. Go on, bro. Go on.
ZUBIMENDI's not happening, guys. It's not happening.
Go on.
The guy is waiting for his dream move to go to Real Madrid. They've been lotioning him up for weeks and weeks and weeks to go to Real Madrid at the end of next season. So all of these things about ZUBIMENDI. Let's be honest. If you have a chance to go to Real Madrid, you're going to go to Real Madrid, and especially if you're Spanish. Especially if you're a guy like ZUBIMENDI. We've been linked to him before. We've had, big pause. We've been linked to him before. We have opportunities to agree a fee in advance. We spoke about potential agreements in advance in January. Dan, if you remember, we were speaking about ZUBIMENDI agreeing a fee. The fact that he has a release clause and we have not heard anything about Arsenal potentially triggering it makes me believe the rumors of him going to Real Madrid are true. I've been reading about this for well over a year, so don't say I'm no ITK. I'm not an ITK. I can give you my secondhand sources if you want, but this is not an essay. But yeah, I'm done. The chat are literally all saying, "Oh, Egal's ITK." No, literally, every single one of you guys have heard the same story as me. He has a release clause. Arsenal wants to trigger it.
Yeah, there we go.
And he wants to go to Real Madrid.
It's weird for me that we've been linked, then not linked, linked, then not linked. Bruno Gomares was going to come in. We're going to go 100 million for a striker. I don't know who we're getting. I have no idea in midfield. We definitely need one side. I
Mm.
don't know if we need a 6 or an 8 or both. Maybe we need both, depending on what happens to Party. We have to decide what Declan Rice is for Arteta. Is he an 8? Is he a 6? Zubimendi and the other one links very,
We
very
don't have to
loosely.
decide. He can
Huh?
do both. We don't have to
Yeah,
decide.
but I'm
then.
talking about when everybody's fit in the first team. What does Rice do? Does he go switch between two, or is he when he's fit? Then okay, when he's fit, where is he? Is he 6 or an 8?
Let me ask you
Shall I
this: Did Pep?
Shall I go for
Did
my
Pep
perfect
decide?
window?
Did Pep decide where Bernardo is going to play, midfield
No, but he
or
decided where Rodri was.
no? But I'm talking about you. You can use certain midfielders for certain things.
Yeah, but in terms of our midfield, Igal, we need to know when everybody's fit, our first 11. Who is that 8 that you are not moving out? Who is the equivalent of Ødegaard? Because you don't move Ødegaard around. Arsenal can't have all these players that can play everywhere. We need to have an
Declan
11
Rice is the 8.
that's sorted.
Declan Rice is definitely the 8. Declan Rice
No, but
Rice
Dan,
never played a
there's
6.
nothing wrong with
Declan
that.
Rice is definitely the 8. The only 6 that's going to be on the team is either Bruno Guimaraes or it's going to be Douglas Luiz or whoever they try to bring
I
in
think
and put in that
horses for
position.
courses.
Do you
There's
know
going
what
to
I
be
mean?
games where you're going to have Jorginho play. There's going to be games where you're going to have the next midfielder we sign play. And I think whoever we play, versatility is going to be key going forward. Imagine we sign Fofana. Imagine we sign.
So that was the other one we were
Bruno.
loosely linked with, Fofana. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many different
That's what I
options.
want, man. And the thing is, my perfect window for me personally is up front. It's not Sesko. It's actually Gyökeres. Listen, I would even have taken the punt on just getting Gyökeres and not even going for Isak, bro. I would have gone for Gyökeres in himself, bro, and just brought him in, taking a risk on that one, gone and brought in like either a Bruno Guimaraes, De Jong, or what's his name,
Fofana.
Douglas Luiz. No, Fofana's the definite second thing. I need to get 2 midfielders. I can't just get one. I need to get 2. Fofana's definitely there. Yusuf Fofana, and then it's one of those 3 for my big signing. Whether it's Douglas Luiz, whether it's Bruno Guimaraes, whether it's Frankie de Jong. One of those 3 have to be brought in. Then you got obviously the backup in midfield, who you could bring in, and to finish it all off, a backup for Saka, man. That's pretty much that's my dream window if we can get that all done. But
This
it looks
is
like
similar
we're
then.
saving a bit of money.
From is Gunner, sorry. Says Sesko, Bruno Guimaraes or Frankie de Jong, Harto, Fofana, goalkeeper, and a right winger or left winger. Do we think we're going to actually cover all those positions, guys? I mean, that's a big window. That is what 1, 2, potentially 3. That's potentially 5 or 6 players coming in. I mean, Jez, I don't know.
You know how many players are leaving?
Say again?
Dan, there's a lot of players exiting this window.
But from the first team, only 2.
No, potentially you're gonna have Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Ramsdale, Kieran Tierney, Lokonga. Who else? Elneny's already gone. Cedric's already gone. So just from the first team, that's already 7. Is there anybody else that I'm missing?
Yeah,
you could potentially see Partey, Jesus, Zinchenko. There could be 10 players out the door.
You not hear me?
Like, hey, you're out. It's crazy. Nuno
Tavares.
That is a worry.
Oh yeah, that guy. I've already counted him as exiled.
We haven't got a big squad anyway, and then we're going to let these. We've got. Well, yeah, I agree. Some of these players have got to go. They're just not the levels. So we've got to also entice in our striker because we need that striker. Yeah, and we need to. I mean, maybe Partey's going to go out the door, possibly. And if he goes, who's going to replace him? So we're in a difficult position here because I agree. Nketiah's got to go. He doesn't get the game time now. I think Arteta's suddenly realised at last the guy's not good enough for the club. Yeah, ESR. I'll be sad to see him go. I think there's a player there, but I think he's just not stepped up to the mark, and he has to walk out the door. Get some good money for him. But if we have these players going as well, right, we need to get some other players in to replace them on the bench. Bench warmers, difficult one. Where we've also got to get that striker. I mean, none of you guys have mentioned it. I mean, there's a couple of players there to me at Crystal Palace, right? Would come to Arsenal. Elise Eze,
Yeah, Jez, I love Eze. I love him at Arsenal. I don't
Did
think
you
it'll
see him
happen, but I love
yesterday?
him.
Did
Yeah,
you
he's
see him
brilliant.
yesterday for England?
Guys,
Even my mate who
headed
don't
to
watch
Tottenham.
football, even my mate who don't watch football was like, bro, who's that guy with the dreads? I said, oh, that's Eze, and then he was like, bruv, why is he twisting up everybody on the pitch? And this guy don't even watch football, bro. He's just in and out, bro. He might look at the football and say something, bro.
Yeah, he's
He
class,
could see he's
Yeah.
twisting him up, bro. And I was like, bro, we need to get this guy, man.
Right, do you
This
know
guy
what it
needs
is?
to go to a big club,
Eze
bro.
is headed
Do
to
you know what?
Tottenham.
Do you know what it? Do you know what it is? Sorry, Jez, I'm gonna come to Jez. You know what it is? Like with Eze, it's I remember on my channel, it's a few years ago. So I think it's a season when Havertz signed for Chelsea as well. And I said to some people, yeah, one player should look out for at the start of the Premier League season that year was Eze. People looked at me like I was crazy. I said, trust me, he's a good player, man. I saw a bit of him at QPR. A QPR fan, a good mate of mine, said,
Rangers.
listen, trust me, this guy can play, man. And he's been brilliant. If we can get through like the injuries, he can play, man. He can play. He's a player we
Elise
don't
and
really have
Elise,
at
like,
Arsenal. Yeah.
people
Let
are
me ask
talking
you guys
about
a
Elise
question.
injuries, but actually Elise is not that bad injuries when you look at his career. And actually he's a baller. The thing is with Elise is I think he's definitely a right winger, whereas Eze can play a little bit all over the place. But I like both of them. I just don't think we're going to go for a player like that. I really don't.
No.
I think we're going to potentially get a midfielder, a striker, and a defender. Definitely, we're definitely going to look to get a backup goalkeeper if Ramsdale goes, and I think that might be it. I think we might get 4 in.
4, bro. We need way more than 4.
Yeah, we do, Egal, but we do. But I don't know if
yeah.
we're going to get them.
Okay. Simply put, we're linked to a striker. We're linked to another forward. We're linked to a midfielder. We're linked to a defender and a goalkeeper. So based on the links that we are linked to, we should minimum get 5.
I hope so. I mean, like, let's be real. The problem we've got is okay, name me a window that we have had where we ain't been short. I'll wait. It's been 20 years, right? So we always finish the window and go, bloody hell, we needed another left back and that would have been all right. Or bloody hell, a right winger, we got no cover. What I do not want to do, and I will not accept any more when we have had 5 years without bloody trophy now, I will not accept the window shutting and going, Saka, no cover for him. Saliba, no cover for him. Erdegaard, no cover for him. We're stuffed then. Because that's what will happen potentially. I will get really annoyed if we do not have covers for these players. And it's fine getting rid of players. I've got no problem with getting rid of Reece Nelson. But right winger's got to come in to replace him and upgrade and be back up for Saka. Or you use a number 9 and Jesus is that guy, right? That's what I need to be seeing. I can't have any more of this waiting, like this. Saliba, we're still waiting for a replacement for Saliba, and he got injured last year. We're bloody lucky he didn't get injured this year because we've got no right centre back now. Oh, it's Ben White. What happens at right back? Oh, Tommy Atsu. He's always injured. We've got to go and get a right centre back in there, man. Go get Diamande. Then you look in midfield. We're relying on Jorginho and Partey to be stuck together. We still need to go and sort that out. Declan Rice is the only box-to-box midfielder. There's no cover for Erdegaard. There's no cover for Saka. So I'm with you, Igal. There needs to be 5 or 6 coming in. But do you think that we will, with Arteta and Edu, get 5 or 6 in? Because they've never done it before. And when they have got 6, that's because we needed 8 or 9.
If we're including academy signings, I'm expecting 10 plus. Because academy players are coming in also. We're gonna sign a bunch of 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds across Europe. Plus, we're gonna sign at least 5 first-team players. So I'm expecting a lot of signings this window. When we look at all the academy players that have left, plus what we are projected to go sign. We're not linked to this Barcelona kid to come into the first team. He's linked to go into the academy. We're going to be linked to a bunch of 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and they're going to all go to the academy. And there might be at least 5 of those kind of signings or 4 at least of those kind of signings. And then for the first team, 100% we're signing a goalkeeper, 100% we're signing a striker, 100% we're going to sign a midfielder. That's 3 guarantees, right?
How many academy players did you use this year, Egal?
Sorry?
How many academy players has Arteta used this season?
It has nothing to do with Arteta. We're revamping the academy.
No. You just made the statement we're going to bring in academy players into the academy. Great. Why doesn't he ever use some of these players?
Because they might not be good enough, or they might not be ready. You want to know the honest truth? We've sent guys who we highly rated, like Miguel Aziz, to teams that were much lower than us, and they weren't ready.
We highly rate all of our bloody young players. I mean, that's what we do. I don't want any young players. I want bloody players that are ready now. I don't want any young players. We've got enough young players.
we need to, in this ridiculous market, we need to diversify our signings. And there's going to be 5. Arsenal might put away 100 million to spend on 5 academy players. Don't be surprised if they do that. And that 100 million, even if
what's
one of
that
them
going to do for our title race?
100
Charge
million on
it, Gal?
5 academy players, though.
5.
Crazy.
Bro, they're not thinking about the title race for that.
Well,
for that.
yeah, exactly. That's the
that is
problem,
the
Gal.
future.
That's
is
the problem.
one
They're not
second.
thinking about the title race. They're
Because
thinking about kids coming
one
through again.
second.
I want players coming in that are ready now. I don't want any more
You wanna
bloody
know something?
15, 16
You
year
want to know
olds.
something? If you don't plan for the future, you're never going to excel.
But hey, Gal, that's the stop right there. That's the problem with Arsenal Football Club, bro. All we do is look at the future. That's all we do every single time. Look what we're going to be like in 5 years.
Don't act like the money for the academy has nothing to do with the money that's for the first team. They have designated money for the academy because they haven't invested in the academy for 3 years plus. When was the last time you've seen us spend big on young academy players to come into the side? Bro, our academy is falling behind. Man City have academy players going every single season for 20, 30 million profit, benefiting their first team. You have Chelsea constantly selling academy players for 50, 40 million plus. And we're talking about, oh, we need to win now. I get it, we need to win now. But at the same time that we need to win now, we need to build a sustainable system for the whole team. So Arsenal will spend money on a striker, we'll spend money on a midfielder, we'll spend money on a goalkeeper, we'll spend money on a defender and a backup for Saka. There's no debate about that. I expect the club to spend at least 200 to 250 million to maybe even 300 million on the first team. But don't be surprised if they don't spend another 60 to 100 on the academy also, because that is
I don't
needed.
think it will cost that much. I don't think the players cost that much. That one player that's coming in for 17 million. Listen, I've already heard loads of whispers and murmurs, so it is right what Igal was saying. They are going to invest heavily into they're trying to do a restructure of how the youth system works now. They want to make it like Manchester City. So a lot of the players that are coming in, if they can't be put into the first team, then they're going to be sold for big money. It's going to be like a Man City system where you see all of their youngsters being sold for 10, 15, 20 million, going to all of these different clubs. I think that's the system that they want to go with. But I've also said, like, we have to find a clear pathway for youngsters to come into the first team, because yes, Ethan Nwaneri is finally going to get a chance next season, but that depends on how many games he's going to play, how many minutes he's going to get. And listen, Man City have been good because they have still managed to give their youngsters at least a good amount of minutes in the Premier League, a good amount of minutes in the League Cup and in the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? And Ethan Nwaneri, I really hope he's not just wasted on the bench. I hope that he can come in, get some minutes. Every time he came on,
by the way, he looks a baller.
yeah. Every time he's come on,
I think he's the one. Probably, if you're looking at, probably might
get
come
promoted.
Yeah, 100%.
No, he being promoted next season. I think they've confirmed that he's gonna be promoted into the first team.
Why are we talking about the academy players? We need to win now, right?
No, but I think what they were saying. Yeah, I know, but I just think when they're thinking about the future, I think we're kind of in the future that they were thinking about 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So we're in the future now that they were thinking about 5 years ago to win. So they told us we were going to win. You know what I mean? We have to start winning something. Otherwise, what are we doing? But listen, I just think, to be honest, for me, in regards to just some of the strikers, because I was just going to address something quickly. Osimhen, I would go nowhere near, mate. That guy is as injury prone as they come. The only other injury prone player I'll probably go for is Isaac, because at least he's proven it in the Prem. We don't know what this guy can do in the Prem. We don't know what Osimhen is going to do when he comes to the Prem. He's already injury prone, and this guy plays in the Serie A. So God forbid what happens when he comes to a more physical league, which is more physically demanding, and tries to play. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know why we're linked with him. Maybe because he's a big name, everybody, they just want to link us to him. But for 113 million, yeah, see you later, mate. Do me a favor, because I'm not spending that kind of money on him. And listen, Joker has always been my first option. So if we can go for him, that'd be brilliant. But I think if we're talking about trying to get all of these players, I mean, Dan brings up a good point when he says, when's the last time we've had a transfer window where we didn't finish off short? Do you know what I mean? And we always seem to be one player short. We always seem to be, oh, we're gonna get one player next season, or the January transfer window, we're gonna get one player, and it's just
We're always short. You're right. We are.
it is frustrating. It is
Yeah,
frustrating.
very
So I hope
frustrating.
this season
You
we
know
can just
something? We're not short on starters. We're short on bench players. This is some completely different situation that we've ever found ourselves in.
No,
Think
we're
about
talking. No, we're talking about what Dan just made. Dan outlaid the point about 5 minutes ago. When we look at Arsenal's transfer windows, they're always coming up short into particularly midfield area. That's always been a bone of contention for season upon season. When we bought in Erdegaard, we should have bought another one on top of him. When we bought in Partey, we should have bought another one. We don't do it in one hit, and Arsenal needs to get that right sooner rather than later. And we'll see. We'll see this summer. We'll see.
Fair enough. I'm gonna have to head off. I'm just gonna say this, guys. Optimism. Hopefully, next time we speak, we would have had an agreement with Sesko. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Big up. Love, man. Love for coming on. Listen, we're gonna wrap up in a minute anyway. But listen, I've got to ask before we go. Eddie and Smith-Rowe looks like they could be set to leave Arsenal if both one they want to go for one, and two that we want to be selling them. Fulham interested in potentially both of them. I think a few clubs are looking at Eddie and Nketiah from what I see. Palace, Wolves, and Fulham. Excuse me. And I think Fulham apparently making Smith-Rowe their priority signing or priority transfer target, should I say? Jez, what do you make of these two? Do you think that we should be looking to sell both of them? And how much money do you think we can get for both of them, Eddie and Smith-Rowe?
Sadly, I think we should get rid of them. I think for the betterment of themselves, I think their careers are pretty much done at Arsenal Football Club. That's been pretty evident from the amount of game times they've got since Christmas, really. So, respect to the players, sell them, move them on, let them build their futures in their new careers wherever they go. How much would we get for Nketiah? I'd say I don't know, 45, maybe 50. Get for him, maybe. ESR, I think probably around 35, maybe 40. So, and I'm maybe over exaggerating it a bit, but yeah, they've got to go, guys, because there's no point hanging on to these players and we don't play them because it's no good for their career. And we've got to be fair, yeah. You've got to have a responsibility to a player and say, right, look, your time's done at Arsenal. Move on. We'll do everything we can to facilitate a move, and we'll get them obviously maximise the money and see what we get. I'm just saying, the guy in the chat there, Christopher, is saying 50 million. For Eddie, I'm trying to get the maximum we can. We need that money to buy other players, man. I know it's a bullshit statement, really, but we need to get the money. We've got to buy players in. Seriously, we've got to get 4 or 5 players in. We need the money. So
yeah, I think personally, if we can get anything close to 60 million for both, I think we will take it. We will take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, listen, I've seen Nketiah, he's in the market and we could get possibly 30 million for him. I'm ripping your hand off, to be honest. If I'm being completely honest, I think Eddie Nketiah, I was going into this transfer window hoping like we can even like scarper like 15 million maybe, you know what I mean, 20 million, not trying to be disrespectful, but I think he's not at that level. And I think if he goes to like a Crystal Palace or one of the mid-table teams, I feel like he can reignite his passion for the game, bro. Because I feel like since he's been here, man, he's just lost the touch of a striker. Do you know what I mean? That ruthlessness in front of goal, and it's really unlucky situation. And sometimes that happens when you're at a big club where, you know what I mean, the light is too bright for you. Do you know what I mean? And it is where it is. ESR is a bit of a sad one, to be honest. I've always rated ESR. I've still rate him to this day. I do want him to stay, but I've had to realize that for the betterment of his career, he has to leave, because if he stays here, I believe he's going to sit here and he's going to waste his career off being a bench player for Arsenal when he could be out there. And I genuinely think he gets into so many teams and starts for him, man, because he's a really good player.
I
And
think they've got to look at their careers as well, Sard. They've got to obviously get to 23 and think, why am I not starting at a football club when I've got all the career ahead of me? And to be wearing the number 14 and number 10 shirts, I know it doesn't mean a lot to some people, but it actually does when you look at the history of the club. They're two of the greatest ever players to play for Arsenal. And at the moment, they're both wasted on the bench. One of them is trying to get sold. The other one, we're trying to work out whether we want to keep him or not. I mean, for me, if you're keeping one of Vieira or Smith-Rowe, I'm keeping Vieira because I think, one, he can play in a number of positions more because I'm not sure Vieira is anything other than potentially an okay 10. Maybe an all right left winger when he puts the ball in with his left, but I'm not really liking Vieira. That's the one I would be looking to get rid of. I think, though, however, the two that we're probably more likely, or three that we're more likely to get rid of, is Nelson, Smith-Rowe and Eddie, because they're all 100% profit players that we can potentially get in total close to 70 million for. And I think we need to look at that realistically and think that 70 million that goes and gets you a potentially very good midfielder or striker. So I think that could be the way that we look at it, man. And listen, I want to come to a close, but I've got to ask you before we do, how many players you think that we will be coming into the club? So I'll start with you, Sard. What you're saying? How many do you think we'll get this winter?
Oh dear.
I'm hoping 4. I'm hoping 5, actually. I'm hoping 5, but I think more likely 4 is what we're going to get in to the club. Maybe 3, depending on how big we go on the other signings.
What positions do you think? We'll ask that as well. What positions do you think we'll get out of them 4 players that come in? What positions will they be?
I think we're going to get a striker. I think we're going to get a midfielder. And we'll probably get a goalkeeper because we need one, because Ramsdale's definitely going to leave. If we do end up getting 3, if we get the 4th, I think we'll add like a defensive cover. But obviously Saka, we got Jesus there who can probably move to right wing, so it's not the complete end of the world, but we still need some sort of backup for him, some competition over there on that side. But I think they're going to go for striker, centre mid, goalkeeper, and then a defender of some sort, left back or centre back, something like that.
Interesting, man. I think we'll get 4 in, and I think it will be 1 in every department. I think it'll be a goalkeeper, a defender, a midfielder, and a striker. I must admit, that's what I think the 4 will be. Listen, we might need 6 or 7 people who say that we need a right wing cover, an Erdegaard cover. We might need another 6 and 8 in midfield as well to add to what I've already mentioned that potentially we need. And I would not argue that that's not the case, but I think you have to be realistic. What are you saying, Albert?
Yeah, you guys, you're spot on. I think the right side is centre back most definitely. That should not be underpinned at all. The striker most definitely. I know who I'd like. I've said it since probably December, Dan, to be honest with you. So, but I can see why they might go for Sesko, and that might really upset some Arsenal fans. But I kind of I do get it, because you don't want a situation where if they didn't go for him, for example, and it does go well, but that's football, it happens. But I just think Arsenal probably want to try and avoid that. Hence the reason why the Sesko talks happened a lot. Midfield player, Arsenal just get it done, man. So I mentioned Timber coming back, key. That's going to be key to Martinelli as well, actually. So I'll be looking at that this season. Like Fofana, seriously, man, good player, man. And he wouldn't cost that much, but yeah, Dan, to be honest with you, to flip it on his head, and I've said this to you hundreds of times before, this is where I want to see Edu earn his corn. And obviously Richard Garlick, the players going out and bringing the money in, because that's not something we've spoken about as Arsenal fans on whatever podcast we go on, because we need to be better at that as a club. We need to get the money in, and we've got a perfect opportunity to do that this season.
Yeah, we have. Jez, I'll let you have the last word, man. What are you saying? What positions are we going for, and how many do you reckon are coming in?
I think I totally agree. I think we'll definitely go for a goalkeeper. I think we were looking at a goalkeeper. Was it from Ajax?
Feyenoord, yeah, Justin Bilo from Feyenoord.
Yes, Feyenoord. So yeah, I'm convinced that Ramsdale will be gone. Maybe Newcastle. So fair enough. We definitely need that striker. You know, if we can get a striker, we've got Arteta for another season minimum. So yeah, we've got to get that over the line. You know, we need that man in the Premier League and the Champions League, no question about it. We're also, there's talk, isn't there, that Zinchenko might be off to Bayern Munich. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not bothered about that at all. I think he's a liability. He scares me every time he plays in that role.
Same.
Yeah, same here.
Same, man.
He just causes panic, unsettles defence. We got Jurriën Timber back, so that's good news.
Great to get him back. Yeah, great to get him back.
And as long as he stays fit, that's brilliant. But yeah, so I'm saying the musts are a goalkeeper, striker, midfielder. I mean, I want us to go really out there and get an Elise Eze type player, right? Give us a little bit more punch. Yeah, their pace is criminal. So numbers, I think we'll probably do 4, right? I don't think the talk about strengthening the blooming academy, because that's what, number 2-3 years ago. You go and buy a load of 16, 17-year-olds, right? What are we going to do then? Wait another 3 years? Yeah, no, that's just nonsensical to me. But yeah, if we get the players out that we need to get out, and we've got a bit of a fund there, and we can balance our books, then I think we can do all right. It just depends on Edu, man, and Garlic. He's the CEO.
Big job. Yeah, big job.
CEO. So that's the thing that worries me about whether they've got the cojones to actually do the job. That's my worry.
That is the worry, man. Listen, people, do me a favor, smash the like button, and please make sure you're going and following all of these people, man. They put out amazing content. If you stay tuned, you'll be redirected over to Saad, who's going to be on tonight talking all things Arsenal. So make sure that you just do nothing but stay tuned. But please do me a favor, because we are only literally a couple of hundred away from 20K, and that is our next target, man. So make sure that you hit the like and subscribe. Please subscribe. Even if you don't normally, just hit that subscribe button. It'll be very kind for you tonight, because that will get us the closest we can for 20K. And I want to try and get there before the end of the week if I can. So please make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sure you go follow Jez over at Arsenal History and More. Make sure you go follow Albert JTV, and make sure you go follow Saad's Football Corner. Please stay tuned. You'll be redirected over there. See you later. Love. And we're out of here, people. Take it easy.
Carol.